we hope to talk about tonight are just some simple tools and tips that you can use that are natural to help you understand how to manage the stresses of life better. Hopefully you'll understand how chiropractic care enhances your ability to handle stressful events. And we're just going to talk about the physiology or neurology of stress in fight and flight. As we're beginning, what I want to make sure that I remind you all of this. Number one is your body was built to be self-healing and self-regulating. Your body is built to adapt, to try to heal. It wasn't built to necessarily make you well, like I'm the perfect state of wellness. Your body is always going to just try to keep you alive. There may be things your body does in the moment to help you survive that in the long term could become detrimental. That could cause issues, could cause health issues. And we're going to talk a little bit about why that happens. Your body's always trying to adapt. What we give our bodies to heal or to handle are going to express themselves in how we feel, maybe, but also how we function, how we handle, and stressors. So one thing that I like to remind our patients about is when you get adjusted, when you're practicing healthier habits, you're continuing to give yourself tolerance to stressors. The stressors are going to be part of life. They're going to be there. And unfortunately, there's some people, especially in this room, have had more stress than others at times recently. But our bodies, if they're on the edge, ready to boil over at any moment, then picking up a pencil off the ground could put your back into a huge spasm. Someone who pulls out in front of you might just throw you for a loop for the rest of the day. When we have no tolerance to stressors, be them emotional, physical, chemical, whatever they may be, they're going to push us over the edge. Our body needs a tolerance so that it can handle stress, because it was built to handle stress, short-term and long-term stressors. But if we have zero tolerance, our bodies will become overloaded. People can be dysregulated or have what we call fight or flight symptoms. So you all can see the screen, I think. If you look through some of these things, you may not necessarily say, oh, that's just stress, right? Now, there's some things here that are physical that you might think, oh, is that related to stress? They are. All these symptoms, which I would say almost everyone has one of these that come into my office to some degree, is a sign that your system is in fight or flight mode. You're running on chronic stress. This is chronic stress. Acute stress would allow you to ramp up some cortisol, your adrenaline. It might depress your immune system just slightly. It's going to give you more blood flow into your legs and your arms, but that means it's going from your digestive system in your brain and it's getting out in here. So the inability to even have thoughts to handle complex problems becomes limited when you're in chronic stress. But look at all the things that could be affected by chronic stress. So many people are living on this slide somewhere or another, and that means that your body is not just diseased in some way, but that chronic stress is affecting it and start to deteriorate its function. So if these describe you, you stay on the call. If they describe someone you know, you stay on the call. If they describe a lot of people you've ever met, you stay on the call. Because these are things we need to educate people on how to be well and allow the body to function at its best level. It means we have to be able to take care of ourselves better and better tolerance. So we're going to talk a little bit about chiropractic and mental health. That's really going to be like our workshop for the night is going to be chiropractic and mental health. There was a survey done. 34,000 people were surveyed, and 70% of them who had received chiropractic care said that it reported an improvement in their health. It made them feel better. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that happens, but ultimately your body can calm and rest when it is adjusted. It puts it in the parasympathetic state. So if chronic stress is a sympathetic state where you're in fight or flight all the time, where your body is basically ready to fight, flee, or freeze, and you get adjusted, it gets a neural reboot and puts it in that rest and digest state. How long it lasts is dependent upon all the stressors that are going on. But this is why repetitive treatments for many people ultimately stimulate the prefrontal cortex. Your prefrontal cortex in your brain is your planning center. This is the center that's working when your body is under less stress. More stress, less function in the frontal lobe. Chiropractic care stimulates your frontal lobe. It gives it a reboot that allows it to start to refocus. We have a statement we always say that where our focus goes, our energy flows. Have you ever focused on something negative in your life? Or maybe this last hour? And what happens? Let's just put a simple situation. I'm late for work. I'm already stressed because I didn't get out of the door right, which means I probably didn't plan my breakfast right. Probably everything else went wrong, so I'm late for work. And my focus is the fact I'm late. And what happens? Everyone who drives slow ends up in front of me. And then if somehow they get out of my way in time, I hit the red light. And then I hit another red light. And then I'm more stressed and I'm more focused and I'm more stressed. Because where our focus goes, our energy flows. When our brain is in that mode of fight or flight, it's hard to focus on other things. It's hard to focus on good things, on things that could help our bodies to heal. But when we get, this neural reboot, it's a helpful thing. So I just want to kind of help you know that how the physical work of your body, and that's just one part, is getting adjusted is simple. Not everyone can get adjusted, You can't get adjusted every day. Maybe you should. But physical exercise, moving our bodies, is also beneficial in helping stimulate that frontal lobe. Okay. There used to be a list. I had like 100 benefits of exercise. You would have thought I was selling like the miracle cure, like I was on an infomercial. Like, do you want better health? Do you want more energy, lower cholesterol, less stress? Buy exercise. Okay. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Let's get into the anxiety and depression of this process. The two most common things that most people are going to come into our office mental health wise are anxiety and depression. It affects daily lives, obviously, and everything. Everything is sleeping, eating, working. We saw digestion. I mean, almost every one of my patients has probably some digestive issues. Know it or don't know it. They might just say, well, it's normal. But normal might not even be good, but know what you're used to. You should have a couple bowel movements a day. Do you know that every time you eat, you should probably go to the bathroom like a baby? Did you know that it should be well formed? If you're really interested in looking at your stool every day, that's not this workshop, but look up the Bristol stool chart. And if you look up the Bristol stools chart and you can find yourself, I can't remember what type it is, but if you find that type and you're that type, well, good. Your probably digestion is doing pretty good. But chances are you're probably a bunch of other types, okay? You want a well-formed stool that can break apart easily, that's smooth, and you almost need nothing to clean it off after you go. It should be like a one wipe done. If any of those things aren't the case, there's probably digestive issues. Didn't think we'd get to there, did you, today? All right, let's watch this video. This is 7 minutes long, but I think it's going to let us to kind of dig into the depression anxiety statement and just understand a little bit more about our brains and our bodies. So we're going to play this.
Did you know that many people who receive chiropractic care report that it helps with much more than just reducing pain? According to a large recent survey of almost 35,000 people in the United States, almost 70% of them who had received chiropractic care reported that the chiropractic care improved their overall health and made them feel better. And over 40% of them also reported that chiropractic care improved their sleep, helped them to reduce their stress, or helped them to relax. This is very interesting, considering the amount of stress globally and the rising problem of mental health disorders. Mental health disorders, such as anxiety and depression, are a global issue and have been increasing at concerning rates over the last few decades. In 2017, it was estimated that almost 800 million people lived with a mental health disorder worldwide, and depression is considered by the World Health Organization to be one of the leading causes of disability in the world. You may be suffering from a mental health disorder yourself, or maybe you have in the past, or maybe you have a loved one or a friend that is struggling with it now. Let's explore what is known about mental health disorders and how chiropractic care may help. The two most common mental health disorders are anxiety and depression. Mental health disorders can affect people's daily lives and make everyday things such as sleeping, eating, working, socializing, or looking after your family really difficult. Some people experience such severe anxiety, depression, or other mental health issues that they can't even leave their own home. Because mental health disorders can be caused by so many things and are different for each person, they can be very difficult to treat. Often doctors will prescribe a combination of medication, counseling, or psychological therapy and self-care strategies like exercise, getting more quality sleep, and meditation, all of which are known to help some people. But have you ever considered trying chiropractic care? You may be wondering how an adjustment to your spine can help with mental health problems. Well, over the past 20 years, scientists have been exploring how chiropractic care affects a person's nervous system, and they found that chiropractic care undoubtedly changes the brain. And in particular, chiropractic adjustments change a part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is an area of the brain that is heavily involved in emotional control, and it influences our behaviors by dampening what is called the brain's limbic system. Now, the brain's limbic system is your emotional brain. Your threat detector is there, and it's always on high alert, looking for dangers. And the prefrontal cortex calms down that limbic brain. People with anxiety and depression have found to have an overactive limbic system, and a low-functioning prefrontal cortex. This is probably due to chronic stress, because chronic stress shuts down the prefrontal cortex and boosts the limbic brain responses. Chronic stress like this usually results in an imbalance between our fight and flight autonomic nervous system, which is called the sympathetic nervous system, and the healing and calming autonomic nervous system, called the parasympathetic nervous system. We know that people who suffer from depression and anxiety and other mental health disorders have an imbalance in their autonomic nervous system, with a heightened fight and flight stress response and a shut down or dysfunctioning healing and calming parasympathetic nervous system. So they end up with high levels of adrenaline and stress hormones circulating through their system. This is why we think chiropractic care can help, because chiropractic care has been shown to enhance the healing and calming parasympathetic nervous system and to change processing within the prefrontal cortex. And this may be why so many thousands of people who see chiropractors reports that it helps them to relax, to feel less stressed, and why they just feel better. And this makes sense because the prefrontal cortex is known to balance the autonomic nervous system and to calm down that limbic brain. So this is most likely why so many people experience improvements under chiropractic care who suffer from anxiety and depression. Let's take a look at one of these research studies about how chiropractic care may help some people with mental health problems. There isn't yet a whole lot of research available that examines the effects of chiropractic care or other manual therapies for anxiety or depressive disorders or other mental health disorders. However, the research that does exist is promising and it's growing. One study published in 2016 by a group of researchers in Spain looked at the effects of two different forms of manual therapy on the symptoms of anxiety and depression in people with tension-type headaches. In this study, 84 people were split into two groups. One group only received soft tissue massage of the base of their skull, and the other group only received adjustments to their upper neck. The participants received this care for 4 weeks, and the researchers reported that the group that received the adjustments to the upper neck had the greatest improvements in their anxiety and depression symptoms. Now, this study wasn't specifically looking at the effects of chiropractic adjustments, but looked at the effects of spinal manipulation or neck manipulation, which is something that chiropractors are highly trained to be able to do safely and effectively. Therefore, this study provides some evidence that chiropractic care may be beneficial for people suffering from anxiety and depression. Obviously, we need more research to know for sure whether chiropractic care can help people with the different kinds of mental health disorders, and to better understand why so many thousands of people who do see chiropractors feel better, relax more, and feel less stressed when under chiropractic care. So if you or someone you know is suffering from anxiety, depression, or other mental health disorders, why not visit your family chiropractor to see if chiropractic care can help you feel better too.
The fact is, and it's obvious, that if you're having a rough week or a rough day, get an extra adjustment. If you're already being adjusted, when your body needs manipulation, it's going to require more, not less, If it's having a tough day, a lot of headache, the body getting reset is going to help that healing and calming system. There are some things like I start to think about in the sense of probably just even our habits or our choices we make every day, that either are causing more stress or taking them away. We probably can control about nothing. Maybe we can control our choices, but we really can't control how other people react to and do different things in their life. And that is struggle. That's tough. That causes more stress and anxiety. And the more you have, the more control you want. That's just natural. So because you feel like if I could control it, then maybe I won't be so stressed. Or if I could get that person to stop doing that at work, or if I could get these people to start paying attention, or those people to listen to me. Those are all things that are outside in, we call them. And that's one point of the philosophy in chiropractic is that we heal from the inside out. Healing comes from the inside out, which means that when you make an adjustment, we're not trying to just make that feel better from the outside, I force something in. It's actually resetting the body so from the inside it starts to heal with the nervous system.